Hello, welcome to another Nickjitsu video. Today I'm going to be looking at where we can get sounds from to augment your sound collection, either within your DAW or when you get the triple play, that kind of thing. And I see this kind of thing on the forums all the time, and I had many an email from Mrs. Edna Scrobes saying, Nick, where do you get all these crazy sounds from that you use on your albums like Hyperreal, etc.? Also, speaking of sound, can you play the sound of silence? Of course I can. Just a bunch of rests. As you move on through the synth world, you end up investigating different synths and finding out new things, and you find out what you really need. And it doesn't have to be too expensive. I think what you get now with triple play is the Synth Master, or Synth Master 1 by KVR, which is very, very good. I'm a bit hazy on that, just like my beer today, Brewdog Hazy Jane. It's very difficult to get good Scottish beer this far south in England. Who'd have thought? Whatever the package you get with a triple play, it's just good enough to get you started. I've actually done a whole song with the Synth Master that I will eventually do a video for. You know, I'm busy touring and writing albums and string arrangements and stuff at the minute. You know, terribly busy. What are the sounds that I use the most then? Number one that I use every gig, and is probably one of the most used sounds ever, is organ. So if I'm playing with a cleaner sound, then I'll use an organ that's maybe an octave lower to kind of fill out the sound a wee bit more. So a wee word about my organ. I've got a kind of rhythm organ that I use. That's just tucked under the clean sound that I blend together. I've also got a lead organ, so I've got my rhythm organ, which is that volume, and then I switch to my lead organ, like that. Now, I've also learned a few organ licks, and I know a few tricks that make it sound exactly like a Hammond. But one of the things that I use a lot is you hear that? I'm changing the speed of my Leslie. A lot of the licks when I play organ, you know, just straight kind of blues licks, things like that. But not blues licks as in, you know, that kind of thing. You have to remember that you're playing like an organ player, so you can't bend. So you have to do a lot of these kind of things. That's what an organ player would do, apparently. So organs are very popular. String sounds and brass sounds are the two other most important. So a good brass sound, you just can't not have a good brass sound. So I'll try and have something that's got octaves in it. And the sound itself is a blend of Nativ Instruments, and I actually use a lot of the sounds from Logic that you get in Mainstage, which is one of the main reasons that I use Mainstage. And I can use the whole pedal. And what happens when you use two libraries together, the Logic one kind of goes like that, whereas the Nativ Instruments one just stays the same. So you kind of get more of that human feeling like a real brass section when you're playing. Quite a lot of the time, I'll actually blow so that I know the kind of what's the word? I'll know the dynamic of the note that I'm playing and that I'm trying to squeeze out. But also when I'm playing staccato, I'll blow it so I can feel the staccato. Again, you've got to be 3 steps removed from the player that you're playing, but you've got to think like the actual instrument on your instrument. Don't know if that makes any sense, but it's a Sunday. So the other thing I do is I take trombones and I change the octave of the trombone. So instead of playing in the normal trombone octave, you stick it an octave higher. So it sounds, you put that with a trumpet and it sounds like 2 trumpets, but one's just got a little bit more kind of, you know, a little bit hairy. Everybody needs a good hairy trumpet. So my other most used sound is strings. I've got strings in different octaves with different attack speeds. I'll have a slow attack on certain things. If I turn my guitar off. And that just sits. When you're playing guitar over the top, the guitar is taking up the front end of the note, and then the strings just swell in the background. Like that. And if I use the hold pedal, I can play that last note. And do some cheesy harmonics over the top. Sometimes you need kind of more of a fast attack. And what I've got there is I've got a fast attack on one set of strings. I think that's the Garatan strings. And then I've got a slow attack from the Spitfire strings in the background. So other specialist sounds I need kind of like kind of cheesy 80s chiff kind of sounds. And then just straight ahead pads. Again with the hold pedal. Things like that. When you put guitar to that, it's still going. So I can be Mr. Infinite Guitar. A lot of the bands I play in, it's just me. And I'm playing guitar and guitar synth. So when you're playing guitar and guitar synth and it comes to the guitar solo, when everything drops out and there's just a solo on the top, it can sound a little bit thin. So one of the tricks I use, Rebel Yell is a good example, because the chords in it are B minor, I think it's D over A, and then G major, and then E minor. The majority of these chords have the note B in them. So you pick a note that is in the majority of the chords. It doesn't matter whether it's a root third, fifth, or whatever. And you play it relatively low. And what you do, I play a B in that, because you'll find a B in the B minor, the G, and the E minor. When you play a D over A over the top, if you play D major and B minor together, you get
B minor 7.
Correct. You get B minor 7. Again, comes down to orchestration, a little bit of theory, all that kind of thing. So if I play a B on the bottom, I'll hold it, I'll hold that B down, and then when I play the guitar over the top, I will play kind of arpeggiatically over the top. So I'll play the B minor, D major, and then G major, and E minor. And you can hear that as I'm playing that, it just sounds like, believe me, your ear gets fooled, because also the bass player he's actually following the chord progression. So you're fooling the audience into thinking there's a keyboard player there when there's not. But it means that the bottom doesn't fall out of everything when you start your guitar solo. And I do that in most solos that I do. Sometimes you need it, sometimes you don't. So I have other specialist sounds, as well as organs and strings and things like that. These are more song specific, and I've done videos on these, like Live and Let Die. That's the beginning of Live and Let Die. And then other things like having other little tricks in there. So on that, I think I've got different types of brass instruments. Shows French horn in there. And then using the Spitfire audio software, I've got things called rips, which is the brip, beep. But when I play the note, the rips are actually on a different channel, and they've got a delay on them. And the delay is set to the speed of the song. So it happens afterwards. See what I mean? So again, orchestration. You got to plan ahead and think like you got to think like an orchestra. And then another one of my speciality sounds. So you know that Carmina Burana, but that's for the beginning of Two Tribes. Frankie Goes to Hollywood, and then you've got all the strings in that, strings and organ. I don't think I've got. Oh yeah, I do have a little speciality in this one, because when I say I play everything live, I do use my feet, and this is live, but where did that come from? Oh my goodness, how am I doing that with no hands? And I'm not using any other part of my body other than my feet. Again, another pad. That's for relax. And then I nicked a lot of the sounds from I think it's a Fairlight. Like that, and sampled some sounds, so it's playing samples. Mainly using the Icarus synth, I think. And then another big pad with flanging on it. Which is great. You play that with a heavy guitar sound, and you get a big, massive kind of... Now there you go, that is Colin Baker era, Peter Davison era, Doctor Who kind of sounds, isn't it? You can get old 80s sounds. That kind of thing. We played Blinding Lights by the Weekend. So again, that took a lot of programming, a lot of working out. It's not just cover gigs that I do. I do a lot of my own stuff on my album, Hyperreal, where I have to play bagpipes live. That's a challenge. So a few other sounds I might use. That's the sound I use for the beginning of Streets of No Name by U2. I don't even know what sound this is, but... Oh. So you recognise that. You can also do this. Now, you need one of these for this. You see how some of the notes don't come out? Now that's because you're tapping, and I've set my set the triple play up to do mainly picking stuff. When you play that, you play it with guitar as well. And any notes that aren't there, you don't miss because you're getting them with the guitar as well. There's a lot of problem solving in MIDI guitar. Like I said, it's fun, but it's not for the faint-hearted. So other strange sounds, you know. Wee bit. Who doesn't like a wee bit of Doctor Who? So that's for a Meeooz song that I've completely forgotten. What's it called? Oh, it's just called Meeooz. Another little interesting feature of that one is when I play up here. What's that you can hear? Correct. Nothing at all. When I play down here, look at that, one note. It's like I'm a top EDM synth player. There you go, stick me in a German nightclub. Just get somebody on a microphone going, So you mix it in with the guitar chords. There you go. and I've got all the synths that I need. So that's what's playing on the record kind of thing. But it means that it doesn't trigger when I'm playing up there. I've got a really soft, very similar to the Frank Goes to Hollywood sound. But that's the one you use on, you know, if you're playing someone, God forbid, you're playing something like Sex on Fire, you're playing the riff to that, and you come to that kind of, every time they come to the verse, there's that little synth. You can play that synth and then go back to the main riff again. So when you come and see a show, if you see me playing with the Lee Aaron band, not that Lee Aaron, or you see me playing, doing my hyperreal stuff or the new kind of dance stuff that I'm going to be doing, mixed in with all the fusion stuff, it's going to be a pretty mental gig, really. Just listen for a little minute and listen to all the little layers that I've got going. And I'll look forward to seeing you guys when you're playing live and hear all the little whooshes and stuff, you know. I'll leave you with this one. This is one of my favourites. This is one that I use live that's quite popular and people remember. Although nobody knows it's guitar. It's quite funny. And it's just a pad. But so where did I get all these mad sounds from? A lot of them are in the DAW already. So if you've got Cubase, if you've got anything like that, you'll already have sounds in there. I know that Fishman used to have a package with Nativ Instruments and IK Multimedia and all that kind of thing. But if you didn't get that package, don't worry about it. If you go on the IK Multimedia website or the Nativ Instruments website, you'll get lots of free synths if you look for them. Just look under the free package. Plugin Boutique is another good place to go. They've got plenty of free synths and plenty of very, very cheap synths. Eventually, once you learn more about what kind of synths you like and what you don't like, you'll actually buy specific synths. The ones that I like the best are Tone 2. I use Icarus for most of my live synths, as you can see. I'm using version 1, but I've recently got my Spotify royalties, £2.84. So I reckon if I invest that wisely in about 2,000 years, maybe 3,000 years, I'll have enough to get version 2.5 of Icarus. For all my orchestral stuff, I tend to use Spitfire Audio. I think they're amazing. I use the studio strings and studio orchestra. I've got the brass and I've got the woodwind of that. Also, if you look at the originals titles, they can be very cheap, about 30 quid a pop. And I use the intimate strings and another couple that I've forgotten, but they're really, really good. A few years ago I switched to using slate drums, which I think are amazing. Really easy to use straight out the box, and the whole Stephen Slate line is brilliant. If you keep your eyes open for any sales or anything like that with Slate Digital or Slate drums, then they're an absolute bargain. The best free stuff you'll probably get from Plugin Boutique if you have a look in their free section. There's also lots of demos of synths and things like that that you can try out on the same site. My favourite free stuff is Spitfire Audio again. They've got a section on their website called Labs, and just really unusual sounds, some really off-the-wall stuff. I'm guessing some of it is curated from their other libraries, but there's some original sound design in there as well. And they do have string sounds and drum kits and all that kind of thing as well, like fairly straighter sounds. But yeah, really good, well worth checking out. And a spin-off from that, Christian Henson, who was with Spitfire, I think still is, I'm not sure. He's like one of the innovators of creating sound and sound design. He's got his own company called the Crow Hill Company, which is really good. They're starting to do some really interesting and exciting stuff. And Christian's a kind of sound champion in every sense of the word. And he lives in Scotland. The other thing that you can do is get a magazine like that. Computer Music, I think, is probably one of the best, or Sound on Sound. But Computer Music has links to lots and lots of free synths and demos and stuff like that. It's really, really good. Again, I'm not endorsed by them, but I do buy the magazine occasionally. Even if you've got loads of synths and you're a seasoned guitar synth player like me, it's still worth getting every now and again, because every now and again there'll be new synths in there and new techniques that people are discovering and new technology, all that kind of stuff. So,
Oi, instrument.
sorry. There's a never-ending load of synths that you can get out there. So enjoy, have fun with it.